Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the video. I am here with Jack Shilkaitis, an indie author. Already, just from conversation before this, he is amazing. Jack, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, wow. A little bit about myself. Well,
Or a
uh,
lot about yourself.
yeah, no, how much time do we have? So I'm from Iowa. I like long walks on the beach. I am half Viking. Sci-fi obviously is my thing. That's what I write. I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to some of my unique interests. I did martial arts for like a huge chunk of my life. That was like actually my full-time thing, and now I actually work in the industry, in the self-publishing industry, as well as being an indie author. So I'm like kind of immersed in all stuff indie publishing, and in addition to doing my own writing and so forth.
Very cool. You work for Book Funnel?
Yep, that's correct.
That's awesome.
Correct.
What do you do for Book Funnel?
Yeah, so if there is authors that see this, they'll probably be like, "Oh, book fun, yeah, like yeah, okay." Readers may or may not know, but I'm our lead author support specialist. I also host our webinars
Okay.
for our authors that use our software, and then also I'm the host of our podcast.
All right. So if someone has never heard of your books before, um,
Right.
how would you describe them in one sentence?
Mm. So I would probably use the term epic science fiction. That's not, I know that's
Okay.
not that's not a single sentence. That's just like a two-word.
No, that works.
All of basically everything that I'm writing for the next like 10 to 15 years is going to be in one universe, different series and so forth. So everything's interconnected. So I've built this big universe and this big sandbox. And now I'm to the point now where I'm starting to branch out from kind of the main series that built all that to kind of play and do some other stuff. And so it's exciting in that sense. Everything that I'm doing is connected. So if I come out with something new, maybe for some people that's like their first entry point into what I'm writing.
Mhm.
But then there's like, oh, now this is connected to all this other stuff. And vice versa. If you've read some of my stuff and I come out with something new, then it's connected to everything you've read. And so it adds more value and meaning to that is the idea.
That is so that's so cool. Can you tell me about your most recent release?
Conglomerate Space Hounds is the name of that book. I like to
Oh.
tell people it is Firefly meets Cowboy Bebop meets Deep Space Nine.
I love Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. So
Love
it,
it.
So you got like the scrappy crew and that sort of thing, the kind of morally gray type of stuff. It's like a lot of what you see in Firefly, like taking jobs that may or may not be above board, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And it's a fun read, and that's available in ebook right now, either through my Patreon, which is free, by the way,
I love that.
or as an ebook in my starter library. Again, I have that up on TikTok. I can probably get that I do have a YouTube channel.
Which of your books would you recommend for a new reader to
Ooh,
yours?
this is a good question. And I've kind of set it up by design so that it's kind of like whichever way you want to go. And here's where I'll bring out my props, right? So, because people like visuals, So Jotnar, which I'm sure we'll talk about, is my Space Marine sci-fi. This is my second most recent release. So this came out before the one that I mentioned. This is a short story, right? It's skinny. It's a little guy,
Yeah.
but it introduces the characters, the world, and everything. And there's actually more to come here. The next book is actually written. It's on my Patreon, kind of like a beta reader type thing. You can find it there if you know where to look.
Okay.
Um, and then most of what I've written is in this series, Scions of Oth, and it's like Battlestar Galactica meets Dune meets Mass Effect.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So much more politics. Everything's like on a spaceship. Half of the main characters are like members of the crew of this ship, the Intrepid. The other half are there's four main characters. So the other two are an assassin and an exiled prince, right? So you get That those are two common character tropes, you'd say, in space opera and things like that. So people can kind of have a frame of reference for what it's like, right? And what to expect. My cat's gonna make a cameo appearance here. This is Oliver.
Oh,
And
hi,
you
Oliver.
want to say hi? You want to say hi? I'm gonna have to set you. But really, you can kind of start wherever. At this point in time, Scions of Oth has the most content available, right? And so there's like 14 books
Oh,
in that
okay.
series that are out there, and another one around the corner that should have been out like a couple months ago, and we're not going to talk about that one, but
Oh, okay.
it happens. But the newer stuff is fun too, and like I said, it's all interconnected. So we're dealing with the same world, maybe different points in time,
Mhm.
different times in the timeline, but it's all interconnected. So you can kind of bounce around a little bit too if you're more comfortable with that.
Cool.
So,
I would really love to know more about Jotnar.
okay, excellent. So Jotnar, you notice that I have all these little pitches because I think it helps for people to have a frame of reference. So I tell people it's like Halo meets Aliens meets The Walking Dead, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so from a genre and trope standpoint, we got Space Marines, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Post-apocalyptic setting, post-alien invasion apocalypse, we should say. We should clarify.
Oh,
So this is not a zombie apocalypse. This is an alien invasion apocalypse. And
okay.
so the backstory here is basically that a war was fought with these aliens like 30 years ago, and these aliens are way more advanced than humanity. Looks like a losing war. And then just one day they just stopped fighting. They're just like, meh, we're like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so humanity's like, okay, we got let off easy. They're whatever. And they start to fight amongst themselves. And turns out, well, that 30 years was just how long it was going to take for the reinforcements to come, because this was going to take longer than 10 minutes,
Yeah.
essentially. So 30 years have passed, and those aliens return, but with numbers that are inconceivable. And they completely overwhelm humanity. And in this particular series, we're focusing on one primary planet, the planet of Ceron, which is central to a lot of the main characters in Scions of Hoth. So it'll be familiar to readers who have read that.
Okay.
But essentially, the aliens show up, and you would think that, okay, are they just going to commit genocide and humanity's going to be extinct? Well, kind of, like 80% of humanity's gone,
Oh,
but
wow.
10% that's left is, well, they get taken and they get experimented on. And in fact, turned into these monstrous creatures known as the Chosen. And those Chosen are sent to hunt down the remaining 10% of humanity.
Oh,
And nobody knows why.
okay. Oh, whoa.
So that's just like day one getting started, right? Right.
Yeah.
And so obviously there's a remnant of humanity that's trying to fight back against this. The thing that happens is when you get turned into one of these creatures, the way I like to tell people is like, if you think of like an aliens, right?
Yeah.
The parasite latches onto you and then, it bursts out of your chest and then you're dead. So as far as you're concerned, like it's over.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mercy when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
But in Jotnar instead, you get turned into the xenomorph. So
Oh, what?
the parasite infects you. And so your skin is covered in chitin and you have these parasites in your brain, and they do some other like surgical implants too, right? So it's a combination of things. And you're basically turned into this like superhuman killing machine that looks like a monster.
Okay, but that sounds really cool.
I
Like,
know, right?
that sounds really cool.
Well, it sounds really terrifying because you're awake the whole time and you know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. No,
But
that's
but you
not as cool,
have
but still kind of cool to have.
yes, but you have no way of, right? So the main character on the day that this invasion happens, he's a Marine. He's stationed on a ship, right? Like light years away from Ceron, which is his homeworld. His wife and kids live with his dad on like the farmhouse that he grew up on, right?
Yeah.
Military family, they don't have a lot of money, that sort of thing. So they stay with his dad. So he hears from his commanding officers, they're back, the invasion has begun. Um, we're not going back. Sorry. Like there would be no point in us going back. And so he does what any dad would do in that situation. And he steals a shuttle,
I was kidding.
right?
He goes back.
Flies it out of the docking bay. It has FTL, so he just jumps, right? It just jumps like hops light years back to his
Whoa.
homeworld. And there's like literally space warfare happening over, in orbit around their planet. And whatever parts of the fleet are there are being overwhelmed. And so he has to navigate through all of this. Thankfully, he paid attention in geography class, so he like knows where to go.
Yeah.
Um, they did teach him how to pilot a shuttle. That's part of being a Marine in the Space Corps. You got to know that at the very least, right? Even if you are a jarhead and you eat crayons, right? You have to know
Yes.
that. You have to know how to pilot a shuttle at the very least, right? In case the pilot, something happens to them. So he makes it back to the farmhouse. He hops out. He runs, yells for his dad. He comes out the front door. He's like, "Where are they? Like, where is it? We got to get in the shuttle. And we got to go. We're gonna get off planet, and we're gonna survive." Where did everybody go? Right? His wife and his two
Yeah.
kids. And his dad's like, they went to the store.
What? Okay.
So if I told you any more, it would spoil some stuff.
Okay. Okay.
But like that's from the main character's perspective, that's how everything starts. Um, and then how this armor comes about and what this is. Um, that's hard to go into too much. Basically, this is the main character, so he eventually does suit up and become a badass, and that whole thing. How he gets there is a bit of a tribulation, but
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm super, super, super intrigued. Honestly, it sounds like it could be a movie.
hey, if Hollywood is seeing this, let me know. Let me
Okay,
know.
who would be your lead actor choice?
Oh, so have you seen the live action One Piece?
Yes, yeah.
So and season two specifically, I don't know because not everybody's necessarily caught up.
I haven't seen season two.
Okay.
My best friend actually just got my husband and I on
Okay.
to the live action. So
Right. Right.
we're in the midst of season one.
All right. So it's the actor who plays Captain Smoker.
Oh, okay.
He would be
Okay.
he would be my Alex. That's the main character.
Okay.
We would also need Dennis Leary. We need him in there too. He's not the main character though. He's like the mentor guy who is snarky all the time and kind of an asshole. But
Yeah, it's so fitting. It's
yeah,
so fitting for him. So fitting for him.
it'd be my dream casting anyway. But
Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah, that really does sound just like an epic movie. Like I
right,
would go and see that. Would you say you're more of a plotter or more of like a chaos and vibes
like a
or
pantser, a pantser
Ye-
is what some writers will say.
yeah.
I'm a plotter.
Okay.
At least from the beginning. Like I give myself the flexibility where if I'm in the middle of writing something and my plan is like, I came up with a better idea. I'll let myself do that. I'm not so strict that like I have to stay to the plan, but there is a plan, right? There
Okay.
usually has to be. Every now and then I will just have like spur of the moment, like an idea for a scene and I just go. And if I don't have the time to write it, what I would do then is I would outline it or I would take notes. So the outlining and the taking of the notes really happens when I am inspired if I'm not able to write at the time. So
Yeah.
kind of flexible, but I prefer to plan, especially with a longer series. I need that uh,
Yeah.
because I need to like the first books I wrote, I started writing when I was 15. I wrote a couple books. Actually, I published a couple books in that series. It was kind of a weird like science fantasy kind of thing, not related to this stuff I'm currently working on. And like ultimately, it kind of fell apart because like I didn't know where I was going with it, and like what's the end, and it was more. So now I'm intentional about plotting the major arc across the entire series. Like, where are we going to end? What I know, like I know how this is going to end, and it's going to make you cry, right? Right.
Okay.
Um,
Is it
and
weird that that makes me want to read it even more?
well, no, that's actually that's one of the reasons why we read books to begin with, and we tell stories, right? We're
Yeah.
right. So that's perfectly understandable. So like that's something that kind of evolved over time of like I always did plot and plan a little bit, but it kind of grew out of like, okay, I'm not just plotting, deciding what's happening in this chapter I'm about to write. I have to know the whole book. And if I know the whole book, I have to know the next one. And I have to know, okay, now the third one. And what's the whole series? Like, where am I? What's the full scope here? I have to know that first.
Yeah.
So now when I come up with a new idea for a series, I start with the ending in mind. And that's the first thing that I will come up with, like the beginning and the end at least. And then
Yeah.
connecting those dots together becomes a lot easier. It's easy to say it, right? And then
Yeah.
the doing it part, the writing the books is the hard part. And then the
Yeah.
staying on course can be hard sometimes too, when you're like, oh, well, I've got this idea that could be kind of, oh, but that veers us off course. Right. So you kind of commit to some decisions sometimes.
Do you, with some of those ones where you're like, oh, that's kind of a neat idea, do you maybe
Mhm.
like store those away for a different
Yeah.
book or
Yeah.
series or
Definitely. I I really like the idea of writing spin-offs. And so most of my books are shorter novels to begin with.
hmm
Like I don't typically write like huge epic, books, right? Like a single book is gonna probably max out around 65,000 words, which I don't know what that is in pages. I'm an author. I think in words. I don't think in pages,
That's
right?
fair.
But
Yeah.
like, so something like this is just shy of 20,000, right? So three of
Okay.
these is about 60. And it ranges anywhere from like 30 to 65, something like that. So
Okay.
something that's technically like a novella or a
Yeah.
short novel to, what some people would consider as like the bare minimum to qualify as a novel, but you know, that's neither here nor there.
hmm
Um, and so I like to break things up into chunks. And then like if I have an idea, like as to get back to answering your question, I know that, oh, well, it wouldn't be too hard for me to write something with that idea. So I can table that. And I have plenty of ideas. Like I have enough ideas to write for the next couple decades if I wanted to. I don't know that I will do all of those, but like there's no shortage of ideas. Ideas are cheap, right? And so if I've got one of those, yeah, I store it away, and then that could become a spin-off. It could be just a one-off short story, novella, or it might become its own series unto itself. I leave that door open until I actually walk in the room.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I've always wondered, like, because I'll get like a idea for just a book talk video and I throw
Mm,
it in my notes in my phone.
yep,
So I'm like, I wonder if authors
I
do
do the
something like
same
that.
thing. I do
Notes
the
in the
same thing.
phone or a notebook that you have with you all the
Yep,
time.
yep, same thing. And I'll even I talk to myself.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I'm one of those people. The folks that talk to themselves or have like an internal monologue. So either you're talking to yourself out loud or you're talking to yourself in your head, one or the other. Um, and so oftentimes, if I'm like driving in the car, or I'm in the shower, right? Like anywhere I'm alone and I have time to think, that's when those ideas usually come. And then I dictate as well. So I'll have like a voice recorder that I'll dictate into. And that might just be like dialogue between two characters or something.
Oh,
Or if I just like, even if we're like the family and I are out and we're running errands or something, and like, oh, I had an idea, and I'll whip out my phone and I'll jot it down. So I do that all the time.
what book or author made you fall in love with storytelling?
Oh boy, that would be Isaac Asimov,
Okay.
but in kind of a weird way. not in the way that most people encounter Asimov, probably.
Hmm.
Um, so Foundation was some of the first science fiction that I read. Um, and so it was like it'd be Foundation, Dune, and then the Young Jedi Knights novels by Kevin J. Anderson, right?
Yep.
If I
Yep.
had to, if I had to give you three, like that would be it. I've gotten a chance to meet Kevin. He's a wonderful person. He's awesome.
Ah, I bet that was
Um,
so cool.
yeah, I had I'll tell you that story next. It's kind of funny
Oh,
because I
okay.
didn't know it was him at the time. So that was your next question. Um, but no, Foundation was the first science fiction that I really like, hard sci-fi that I read. I guess Foundation is not necessarily hard sci-fi, um, but I didn't start with Foundation because most people think of that series and they're like, okay, it's Foundation and then Second Foundation, and then you go from there. No, I started with the prequels that he
Oh,
wrote.
okay.
He wrote these later in life, and most people don't know about them.
Yeah.
It's Forward to Foundation and the other one. I can't remember the name. Um, and they focus very much on the character of Harry Seldon, right? The main character. He is the main character actually, and it's very character driven. Oddly enough, it's not like the science is in the backdrop, which
Oh,
is
okay.
like
That's cool.
he's come up with this idea for Foundation and what it does, and now he's being hunted. It's kind of like a sci-fi thriller almost. And then the second book that's again comes before Foundation is about him and his family, and again very character focused. I'm like, okay, I'm getting to Foundation now, and there's gonna be tons of him in that book, and no, he's not really like he's mentioned in the book. He's not really a primary character. It's more about this big idea he had in the science and how it's affecting society and so forth. And so it was kind of an interesting experience because I was like, oh man, I want to go back to that. That was the really interesting stuff to me.
Yeah.
And so it was more the character driven aspects of science fiction that I clung to and I found interesting. And the science was a vehicle for that. Whereas some people come to sci-fi, like sci-fi authors are literally scientists, right? And so
Yeah.
everything is grounded in science, and that's where they start from. Like Andy Weir, like The
Yeah.
Martian,
I was just
right?
thinking of
Right?
him.
And totally great, by the way. And a good author can kind of bridge that gap. But sometimes some of it is very focused on like the science, and you're almost like you're reading like a textbook half the time, right?
Yeah.
It feels like, and that's not quite my thing. It was more like, okay, it's almost more like fantasy where you're focusing on the characters and the world itself, this space opera, really. You want to ask me about Kevin J. Anderson?
I
You
do
don't
want to
have to.
ask you about that. No, I do want to.
All right. So, the company I work for, Book Funnel, we go to Las Vegas in November every year for a big author conference there. It's Author Nation. Um, Readers probably are like, oh, what the heck is that? Technically, there is a reader event like on the last day of it. So if you're in that area, probably worth checking out. I'm going to be there this year, right? So anybody in that area, you can come see me. But it was for work. This was back in 2023. It was the first time I went, and it was the second day of the conference. And my boss, who's also like has been my friend for like 15 years, is like, hey, get ready. It was like after the conference was over for the day, get ready. We're gonna go have dinner with Kevin. I'm like, cool, Kevin. Who's Kevin? Like I didn't ask that out loud. I'm just like, all right, we're gonna have dinner with some guy named Kevin and some guy named Jonathan, who may or may not also be a big deal. We get to dinner. It's this really nice steakhouse at the Cosmopolitan, right downtown. We sit down, have dinner. I'm eating this really beautiful steak, one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. There's a few, it's in the top five for sure.
Oof.
When I hear Kevin, who's sitting across from me, start talking about the TV show that they're going to make from his books called Dune. And I'm like, oh,
Oh.
that Kevin, wait a minute. And I'm like texting my wife. I'm like, I'm sitting across the table from Kevin J. Anderson. And she's like, who is that? who is Kevin? What are you talking about? Like, what's the big deal? And
Yeah.
I had to explain this. I'm like, no, like I read his books, like his Young Jedi Knights books. That's right around the time I started writing. I was reading those.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my gosh. So, um, and then embarrassingly at the end of the night, um, my boss and I and Kevin and his wife, we all shared an Uber back to the same hotel. And he was like, well, you weren't very talkative tonight, were you, Jack? And I'm like, no, sir. I just wasn't. I don't know why. I was just listening to all the conversation. I had nothing to say. And, but since then, I've been on two podcasts with him and everything, and he's great. And so I've gotten over that, thankfully.
Well, that's good.
It is a funny story. It does make for a funny story. He even laughed when I told him the story. So
That would be such a trip to just all of a sudden, wait.
well, the thing that makes it make sense too. Some people might be wondering, like, okay, well, how did you not know it was Kevin? I did not know what he looked like. Like I knew his name. I just like had never, one of those things like
I
somebody that
get
you know
it.
by name, and
Yeah.
like some musician, like you know the sound of their music and the sound of their voice,
Yes.
name, and but you've never seen them, and then you just
Yes.
happen to be having dinner with them. Like that's
Yeah.
what it's like.
So, what is one of the best ways that we can support you
Oh,
as an independent author? What are the things that we can do to show that love and support?
well, I mean, obviously there's the books and they're out there and buy the books, and enjoy them and so forth. But um really at the end of the day, what I've learned is for me personally, it's having that opportunity to connect with readers um that matters a lot. I had this experience. I'm sorry, I tell lots of stories.
No, I love it.
Imagine that, right?
It's weird, right?
I know. It's almost like I do this on a regular basis too. Like maybe I
Something
even
like
write some
that.
of them down.
Who would have thunk?
I know. But I had this experience where this was like last fall. Maybe like school had just started, that sort of thing. And I'm kind of in a downward spiral with my writing at this point in time. Like I was in a funk. Nothing felt good. Might have something to do with that book that should have been out a couple months ago. But anyway, um, and I walk into the doctor's office for my regular checkup. Don't worry, I'm not going to die.
Okay, good.
And I walk in the door and I'm standing there waiting to be called over. And this guy just sitting in there in the waiting room is like, hey, I've read all your books. And you got to understand, right? That's not a thing that happens to me. Like I don't walk around and people are like, "Hey, you're that guy," right? Maybe it could happen to me now because I've done some in-person events at like the local mall a few times, but at that time I hadn't. So like, there's no way that nobody would know who I was. I'm like, okay, this is weird. I'm like, does he think like I had a book funnel shirt on at the time? I'm like, does he see book funnel? And he's like thinking like, did he get confused? I don't know, right? Because readers get books through our app on BookFunnel. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
going on? Anyway, I walk up to the desk, I check in, I pay my $20 copay, and I turn around and then I look at the guy and I recognize him now. I'm like, you're the guy from the gym. And I gave you all my links. And you're not lying. You did download all my books and read them. You're not lying, you're not making this up. And we chatted for a few minutes and he asked me like,
Oh,
so hey, well, like when's the next book coming out? And it was just like, I don't know if readers understand like when you make that connection with an author, like you ask them something as simple as like, "Hey, when's the next book coming out?" That is like all the warm and fuzzies, right?
oh,
That's the best feeling, right?
yeah.
Some authors are different. Some authors are like, "Yeah, it's coming out whatever, just make sure you buy it." Um, which sure, like I'd love it if you bought it. Um, but at the same time, like my Patreon is free for a reason. When I'm in the middle of writing something, I post the chapters on my Patreon like as I write them. And
Oh,
so you can come and support me there and just become a member and and check it out. I'm going to introduce some paid tiers in the near future for certain things or people who want to do that. But like it's more about that connection, and I want to share those. Like I know it's so cliche. Like I just want to share my stories with the world. I just want everybody to, but like that's the whole purpose behind it. So I want to know that my story has had an impact on somebody. Yeah, I'd love to make money from it because that allows me to continue doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a certain amount of energy that you have to put into it. So it is good to get some energy back. Um,
Yeah.
you know, but like that, when I after talking to that guy and man, I haven't seen him at the gym again lately, but like since then I've been like on fire.
I
Um,
love that.
it's great. It was an awesome experience. So even getting some like an email from readers, the whole reason I'm here on TikTok, I keep saying here on TikTok because we found each other through TikTok. The whole
Yes.
reason I'm on social media, YouTube, wherever I am, is because I want to put something out there and I want to see what readers have to say about it. And so when readers comment and are like, "Hey, this sounds really interesting," like that's my zing. That's like that does it for me. And I'm like, and I can. They're like, "Hey, where do I get this book?" And I can tell them, "Here you go," and let me know what you think of it. And letting hearing that they enjoyed it and that sort of thing. I'm not a masochist, so if they're like, "Man, that book just totally sucked." I don't particularly enjoy that feedback, but no author really does. But
No.
that's what does it for me, though. At the end of the day,
Oh. That is so awesome. That is so cool. Oh man. Um, so outside of Patreon, I
yeah,
found your books on Amazon.
yep,
Where all can your books be found?
right. So um, my books are wide right now, so they are on Amazon, but they're not in Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
You can get the ebooks and some of the paperbacks there. I'm working on getting more paperbacks available at this point in time. And then most of them are also available through my website, which is
Okay.
just myname.com. That's insert my name. That's jackshilkaitis.com. You can go there. I also have a starter library. I'll give you the link for that so you can share it with this video.
Yeah,
And there's,
please.
there's literally 3 free ebooks in there. Like for this one, for Jotnar, if you look this up on Amazon, it's not free on Amazon.
Mhm.
But for the other ones, like in my starter library, it is free. You can get it for free there, just in ebook form, but that's in exchange for signing up for my newsletter. I know not everybody wants to do that, so it's also available on Amazon. You just got to throw like a couple bucks at me, and then you don't have to join my newsletter and get, annoying emails from me and that sort of
Ah,
thing. Um, so it's a few different places, but yeah, Amazon is good. I'll give you that starter library link for
awesome.
people to explore, and then also my website.
Awesome. At yourname.com.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for letting me take up some of
Yeah.
your time. I really appreciate it.
It
This
was a
has
pleasure.
been so much fun.
It,
So much fun.
likewise. Likewise.
So much fun. I definitely want to do this again.
Absolutely. I'd be game. I'd be game for
Awesome.
sure.
All right. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Yep.
I will make sure that there's links. I'll have your profile
Sure.
tagged. And I'm gonna go and find your YouTube, so then I'm following that too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
all right, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And everybody go and check him out. All right. Have a great night.
Thank
Bye.
you.